Hello there, guys. So, this is episode 55 of the VictorPrep Vocab podcast. I'm going to start with a quote from one of my favorite series of books ever. And I feel like I probably tell you guys this all the time, that I love this book and I love this book. But this really is one of my most loved set of books ever. It was something I read when I was quite a young kid, and it stuck with me ever since, and I reread it all the time. And yeah, whenever I was lonely as a kid or sad, I would just reread The Lord of the Rings. And so this is a quote from The Lord of the Rings. And yeah, I think there's so many amazing quotes from those books. I could I could do this all day. But here's one particular quote. Some believe it is only great power that can hold evil in check. But that is not what I have found. I have found that it is the small things, everyday deeds of ordinary folk, that keep the darkness at bay. Simple acts of kindness and love. So let's now review the words from episode 54. Those were artless. That means without guile or deception, someone who's natural, simple, maybe a bit naive or innocent. When describing something like a piece of art or a song, a picture, whatever, it means without skill, without finesse, it's just not very good. Insipid, that means lacking flavor. So you have a cup of coffee and it's just too weak, there's too much milk in it, you can't really taste the coffee, it's insipid. Garner, that means to gather or collect. And usually that means collecting information. So garnering information about a crime. And enigma, that means a thing or a person that is difficult to understand, a puzzle or riddle, something that is complicated or mysterious. So those were our previous words. Now let's get going with episode 55. So the first word is mitigate. That's spelled mitigate. Mitigate. To mitigate, because it's a verb, means to make something less serious or less severe or less painful. So the very easy example is to mitigate a pain. So I'm sure you've heard of aspirin or other painkillers or paracetamol or acetaminophen, whatever, right? Everyone's heard of painkillers. Painkillers mitigate pain. They make pain less painful. They make the pain go away. So they mitigate the pain. Some synonyms of mitigate are alleviate, diminish, weaken, attenuate, lighten. But mitigate doesn't have to be just used with pain. You could say, if someone was sad and you wanted to go make them feel better, you wanted to give them a hug, be nice to them, whatever, you would be mitigating their sadness. You would be making their sadness less severe or less painful. So yes, mitigate means about anything, just to make it less severe, less painful, or less serious. So someone's punishment could be mitigated. So they were going to get a harsher punishment and their punishment was mitigated. So maybe they were going to get the cane. Well, that's a very old school punishment that someone used to get hit in old schools in England with a kind of stick. And their punishment might have been mitigated just to have to stand in the corner instead. So yes, that's mitigate. One place where this is used quite commonly is when you're hearing about someone who has committed a crime, you'll often hear the phrase mitigating circumstances. So someone might have been in a lot of trouble, except there were mitigating circumstances. That means circumstances that lessened the seriousness of offense. And those could be things like the youth of the person involved. Because they were so young, that was considered a mitigating circumstance, so they get a lesser or less severe punishment. Our second word is coffer. Coffer. Coffer spelled C-O-F-F-E-R. It has nothing to do with coughing. That's C-O-U-G-H-I-N-G, as in that kind of coughing. Sorry if I just killed your ears with a loud cough on the recording. So a coffer, C-O-F-F-E-R, is a small chest or a strong box for holding valuable things, money, jewelry, and so on. So if you imagine in your house, you didn't trust the banks and you didn't want your money to be stored with Barclays or HSBC or Bank of America. You wanted to keep all your money at home, but you obviously want it to be safe, right? So you get a little chest or an iron box or whatever with a special key, and you store your money in there and you hide it in your house. That would be a coffer, a small box or chest for holding valuable things. So there's a fairly good way of remembering what this might be. If we think of other words that start C-O-F-F, we might think of coffin, box for holding a dead person. Well, coffer and coffin both have the same root Greek origin, which is kophinos, meaning basket in Greek. So, and they went on to mean a word coffre in Old French that meant chest. So coffin and coffer have that same origin, mainly something that holds stuff. So if you can remember coffin, it's a type of box. Coffer, it's another type of box for holding valuable things. Our third word is antagonize. Antagonize. That's spelled A-N-T-A-G-O-N-I-Z-E or Z-E. I'm never quite sure, being a British man living in America, whether I should say Z or Z for Zs. Anyway, so antagonize, it's a verb, and antagonize has a fairly simple meaning. It basically means to cause someone else to become hostile. So it means to, on purpose, make someone else hostile. So if you are antagonizing someone, you are saying or doing things that annoy them or irritate them or otherwise cause them to become angry or hostile. Some synonyms of antagonize are irritate, anger, annoy, alienate, offend, or insult. A way of remembering this one might be, look at the first three letters, ant. We all know what an ant is. It's a type of insect, and if you get a lot of ants on you, they're probably going to bite you. They're probably going to be really irritating. In fact, if someone poured a whole bunch of ants on you, it would probably antagonize you. It would make you angry. It would annoy you a lot because it wouldn't be nice at all to have a lot of ants on you, of course. So just remember, guys, if you have an enemy that you want to antagonize, pour ants on them. That will work, I guarantee it. And so on to our final word, and that word is garrulous. Garrulous. And garrulous is spelt G-A-R-R-U-L-O-U-S. Garrulous. And garrulous means excessively talkative, especially on trivial or non-important matters. So everyone probably knows someone in their life who just loves to talk. And not necessarily to talk about anything important, but when you see them, they love just talking about everything and anything. Celebrities, random bits of news, their life, and they'll just talk and talk and talk. So that person could be described as garrulous. I've often found in books and literature that garrulous is especially used for older people, but that doesn't mean it's only used for older people. So just something to remember. Some synonyms are talkative, loquacious, voluble, verbose, chatty, gossipy, and the opposite, someone who's quiet, concise, taciturn, or reticent. So those are some antonyms or opposites of being talkative. Make sure you get those the right way around. So have a think right now and think of the person in your life or the people in your life who are garrulous. So let's do a quick review now of our words. They are mitigate. Mitigate. That means to make something less serious, less painful, or less severe, especially a wound, the pain from a headache, for example. Coffer, that is a strong box or a small chest for holding valuable things. Antagonize, that means to cause someone to become hostile, to anger or irritate someone. Garrulous, that means especially or excessively talkative, especially about trivial or non-important matters. And so, on to our test sentences. For each sentence, just think about which word I might be referring to. I'll give you the answers after. The rich businessman kept a sturdy chest of valuable jewelry hidden in a secret room in his mansion. Coffer. When I had a serious leg infection, I had to take some strong antibiotics to help bring down the infection. Mitigate. The young boy made the snake angry by shouting and waving his arms and stomping his little feet. Antagonize. The old lady who lived on my street as a child was incredibly talkative. Every time I met her in the street, I would end up chatting to her for at least 30 minutes. Garrulous. So guys, that was episode 55. Hope you don't have any problems with those words. As always, please send any feedback, comments you have to me on email. You can get in touch with me at sam@victorprep.com. You can also tweet at me, if that's your thing. It's at samfold, F-O-L-D. Go on the Facebook page too, which is facebook.com/VictorPrepLearning, and like the page. You can send me a message there too, or make a post or whatever. So anyway, thank you so much for listening, and take it easy. Good night.